Have you ever wondered why some people seem to navigate through life with enviable serenity, while others break at the slightest obstacle? The answer might lie in one of the most common and paradoxically most extraordinary elements on our planet: water. While most of us were taught that strength means rigidity and resistance, history's greatest strategists and philosophers discovered exactly the opposite. Sun Tzu, the legendary Chinese military strategist, and Bruce Lee, the revolutionary martial artist, shared a counterintuitive truth that challenges everything we thought we knew about power. True strength lies in adaptability, not rigidity. What these masters understood, and what most people never realize, is that we're wasting precious energy trying to control the uncontrollable, when we could be flowing through challenges instead. Think about it. Water, seemingly fragile, sculpts mountains over time. It doesn't fight against gravity, it uses it to its advantage. It doesn't try to knock down obstacles, it finds paths around them. And it's precisely this quality that separates the truly resilient from those who live in constant frustration. The good news: this ancient wisdom, which transformed warriors into legends and martial artists into philosophers, can be applied immediately in your life, regardless of the challenges you face. Water, in its apparent fragility, conceals one of the greatest lessons nature could offer us. It doesn't directly confront the obstacles in its path. Instead, it circumvents them with a silent elegance that few elements can demonstrate. When Sun Tzu, more than 2000 years ago, observed this phenomenon and transformed it into military strategy, he wasn't just talking about war, but revealing a universal principle that transcends the battlefield and reaches every aspect of human existence. It's no coincidence that millennia later, Bruce Lee would revive the same metaphor when he said, "Be water, my friend." What both masters realized is that rigidity, though it may appear as strength, often breaks under pressure, while flexibility allows for persistence. Think of trees during a storm. Those that don't bend end up breaking, while those that yield to the wind survive to bloom again. This is a lesson we can apply when facing resistance in our projects or relationships. Instead of stubbornly insisting on a single path, we can seek alternative routes. Adaptability doesn't mean an absence of purpose or direction. On the contrary, water always finds its way to the sea, regardless of obstacles. It maintains its ultimate goal, but is infinitely creative about the means to achieve it. Those who wish to delve deeper into this concept will find valuable reflections in Lao Tzu's Tao Te Ching on how softness overcomes hardness. In everyday practice, this might mean reassessing work methods when we encounter resistance, or even reconsidering approaches in difficult conversations, seeking not direct confrontation, but alternative paths that lead to the same destination. There's a fascinating paradox in the philosophy of water that so intrigued Bruce Lee. The more flexible you become, the stronger you truly are. Seems contradictory at first glance, doesn't it? Our culture frequently associates strength with rigidity, immutability, the ability to remain unshakable. However, observe how water, in its fluid persistence, sculpts mountains and creates deep canyons over centuries. It doesn't confront rock with instantaneous violence, but with an adaptable constancy that, in the end, proves irresistible. Sun Tzu understood this dynamic when he advised his generals to be like water that always finds the path of least resistance. The supreme art of war is to subdue the enemy without fighting, he wrote. recognizing that true mastery lies not in winning through brute force, but through adaptive intelligence. We see this clearly in successful negotiations, where the person who rigidly clings to a single position generally loses, while the one who maintains their objectives but flexes their methods frequently achieves superior results. Mental flexibility is particularly valuable in times of accelerated change like ours. Those who cling too tightly to a single way of thinking or acting quickly become obsolete. Think of companies that disappeared because they failed to adapt to new technologies, or careers that stagnated due to resistance to innovation. As Bruce Lee eloquently put it, empty your mind, be formless, shapeless, like water. If you put water into a cup, it becomes the cup. If you put water into a bottle, it becomes the bottle. This ability to take different forms without losing one's essence is what allows not merely survival, but thriving in constantly transforming environments. Incorporating the philosophy of water into daily life isn't merely a matter of intellectual understanding, but of constant and conscious practice. Bruce Lee didn't just philosophize about being like water. He embodied this principle in every movement, in every fighting technique he developed. Jeet Kune Do, his martial art, was revolutionary precisely because it rejected rigid forms and embraced adaptability as a fundamental principle. Don't get set into one form, adapt it, and build your own, he said, inviting us on a journey of self-discovery through flexibility. The aquatic mindset manifests in small daily decisions. When we genuinely listen to a contrary opinion instead of reacting defensively, when we try a new approach to a recurring problem, when we allow our plans to modify in response to unexpected circumstances. Sun Tzu observed that just as water adapts its course according to the terrain, so must an army adapt its strategy according to the enemy. In everyday life, this means recognizing that different situations require different responses and that wisdom lies in discerning which approach is most suitable for each moment. The true power of this philosophy reveals itself in times of crisis, when we face losses, failures, or drastic changes. Rigidity breaks us, while flexibility allows us to flow through adversity. There's a profound lesson in Stoic writings, particularly in Marcus Aurelius's Meditations, about accepting what we cannot change and adapting to the inevitable. Try for 1 week to consciously observe your reactions to obstacles. Do you try to force your way through them, or do you seek, like water, to navigate around them with elegance? Do you rigidly cling to your expectations, or do you maintain your objectives while adapting your methods? The practice of this observation by itself already begins to transform our relationship with challenges. Ask yourself, how many opportunities have you lost by rigidly clinging to a single path? How many relationships might have flourished if you had been more flexible in your expectations? How much stress could have been avoided if, instead of fighting against inevitable circumstances, you had learned to flow with them? These aren't rhetorical questions, they're invitations to deep reflection that can fundamentally transform your life experience. What will you do differently tomorrow, now that you know the power of the aquatic mindset? What challenging situation in your life could benefit from a more fluid and adaptable approach? If you enjoyed this content, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications to receive more reflective videos like this one. And remember, water doesn't become powerful overnight. It's its gentle and adaptable persistence over time that transforms entire landscapes. Similarly, your consistent practice of these principles can gradually transform the entire landscape of your life. Until next time.